Welcome back. AFEX time now, and let's give you a little bit of summary of the trade on the exchange ended on the 13th of March. Beginning with the commodities update by AFEX in the last trading week, we saw a slight decline across most of the key indicators. We saw an increase in turnover from 3.89 billion naira to 3.90 billion naira, while the total volume of commodities traded declined from about 11 million naira contracts to 10.2 million contracts. And the number of deals decreased by 11.6%, closing the week at 250 deals. The AFEX commodity index declined marginally by 0.67%, closing at 468.9 index points, while the AFEX export index declined marginally by 2.58, closing at 219.76 points. The volume of contracts traded also declined. Now, we look at the prices now to see how that's fared. Soybean, we see, stood at the top of traded commodity, followed by maize. We saw an increase in volume across maize, cocoa, ginger, and cashew. However, soybean dealt a slight decline in traded volumes. Prices now, price of cashew nuts topped the gainers chart, gaining 0.7% week on week to close at 615 naira, 1 kobo for a kilogram. This was followed closely by maize. Maize, we see, is also on that gainers list. It's gained 0.69% to close at 222 naira 47 kobo. And then ginger is also on the flip side, the highest declined by more than 11%, as we can see, 11.06% to close at 804 naira 90 kobo for a kilogram. And this was followed closely by sorghum. Sorghum also dipped 9.35% to close at 260 naira 88 kobo for a kilogram. Now, let's delve into a conversation with AFEX. Small-scale producers is their interest this week because AFEX believes they are the forefront of Africa's agricultural production, playing a leading role in producing commodities such as maize, cocoa, coffee, and a whole lot more. And also supporting these farmers by adopting sustainable finance is critical for commodity agriculture. According to the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, Africa would require over $300 billion of public and private investment across the agricultural value chain over the next decade. To this end, AFEX believes that we do need agriculture in Nigeria beyond the traditional models. Well, to help us expatiate on the thoughts of AFEX on this matter, we have joining us from Abuja studio, Kehinde Akinrele, Senior Analyst, Strategy and Corporate Finance with AFEX. Good morning, Kehinde. Good to have you on the show. Well, let's start with the supply shortfall in finance to agriculture in Africa that has contributed to the development of this sector, to this tune. What are the traditional financing models in Africa and how have they performed in the past years?
Good morning. So to answer your question, taking a look back to the traditional financing models, we have to first take a look at the informal sectors, the informal financing sector, which are the loans and which are the cooperatives in the sector, in the agricultural sector. But there's an issue with that because the smallholder farmers are generally financing. The issue with the informal financing sector is that the farmers have the defaults on the loans collected means that the total financing to help other smallholder farmers diminishes. Now, looking decades further into the future, or decades further in, we look at competitive banks, and then we look at how competitive banks have been able to provide financing in this sector. But there's an issue with that also, yes, that there's an issue with that as per loans and collaterals. Now, for farmers, for the average smallholder farmer, collaterals, the banks do not exactly have collaterals. The smallholder farmers, do not have collaterals to give the banks. And this pitch often issue with the banks because the smallholder farmers basically have, the smallholder farmers have warehouse receipts, which could be used as collateral, but the banks do not recognize this. Now, this is an issue that AFEX is sort of providing solutions to. It's AFEX. What AFEX plays here is AFEX is leveraged pre-existing financing options in developing countries. And what it has done is allowed this warehouse receipts to be used as collaterals by banks to claim for financing for smallholder farmers.
Yeah, but are these smallholder farmers, are they embracing the new methods, the innovation going on around financing? How receptive are they to it? Well, to answer the question, we'd have to look at, remember they're smallholder farmers and the level of education is still pretty low. And so for them to adopt newer innovative agricultural financing methods or models, there's a need to balance the level of education with with what the innovative technology is. And so I would not say they easily adopt. Their adoption method is pretty high because we still have to look at the infrastructural gap also that still exists, and also the location of these farmers. Location of these farmers are a bit extreme, on the extreme side, and so for financing to come in place, we have to reach out to these farmers individually, and this poses a lot of costs on the private sector, especially in the early part of the value chain management, where you have to reach out to the farmers, and the location of these smallholder farmers are diverse. So it's a bit difficult, but yes, they're a bit receptive to it, but adoption is coming up along. It's not scaling as we want it to, but it's improving. Yeah, so it sounds like there may be a need for analysis of the policies and the approach, to win the smallholder farmers, more into the newer innovative methods. Yes. I believe there's a need to evaluate the current policies. We also have to look at the financial policies of the part of farmers, of the part of public and private partnerships. Yeah, and so it's a bit recent. We see over the past that financial products have been developed or created based on pre-existing needs. Now, it's not looking further into the future, and it's not seeing that farmers need financial products. Now, there's a need to evaluate these policies where we look at the farmers and we say that, yes, there's a need for us to have a policy that gives them access to finance, gives them access to credit, that they can be able to get credit from banks. They can be able to use their warehouse receipts as collaterals in getting access to credit from banks. All right, thank you so much, AFEX Kehinde Akinyerele, Senior Analyst, Strategy and Corporate Finance, AFEX. And we do wish that AFEX will push in further to move these innovative methods to the smallholder farmers.